Let's do data representation and analysis. What's the mean? What's our synonym for mean?
Average.
Average, that's exactly right. So to get an average, you got to add up all of these scores, and then you have to divide by however many scores there are. So that's what you can see happening here. Add them all up, there are 7 in total. So the sum of the scores is 28, divided by 7 just gives you 4. That's the mean. The median. What's our phrase that tells us what median means?
Middle.
It's the middle score, isn't it, right? And so to get a middle score here, you've got to put them in order. You have to put them, otherwise you don't know which one's the middle one, because they're, you know, if I said what's the median height and I just went along you right now, you're not in any order, so I don't know who's the middle, really. Okay, so that's why you can see you put them in the proper order, and there are 7 scores in total. So the middle one is the 4th one, and you can see there's 3 on one side and 3 on the other. That's how you get 5. We did mean, we did median. That means the last one left is mode, which is the it's the highest frequency or the most common score. Okay, so you just look and you see, is there any particular score that's more common than the others? The answer is the only score that doubles up is 17. So that's why that's the answer. Okay. All right, now this one's tricky. The mean of 5 scores is 6. The 4 of the scores are shown below, and there's a missing score. So here they're mixing data with algebra, right? That's the missing score. So you can let that equal to x, and then you can work out the mean just the same way that you did before. You have to add these numbers up. You get x plus 20, but you want the x on its own, so you kick the 5 over to the other side. It becomes 6 times 5. And you can see how the numbers play out. You get 30 on the left-hand side, x plus 20 on the right-hand side. Take away 20 from both sides, and that's where your 10 comes from. Okay, and you can check that out. You can go and add all of these, work out the average, and sure enough, you'll get 6. Okay, you got a table here. We did these tables quite a lot, so hopefully you did okay working out that f times x, frequency times the score. You just had to multiply across. So 1 times 3 equals 3, 2 times 4 equals 8, 3 times 5 equals 15, and so on. Then you had to add these up. Use the table to determine that mean and mode. So what you had to do was, well, the mode is not too hard to work out. You just look at the most common score. The most common score, the highest frequency is 5. So the score that corresponds to that is the 3. That's the mode. The mean is, you have to divide all the scores added up over how many scores there are, and that's where 2.6 comes from.
In question 2, I only got 1 mark, and I think I should have 2.
Did you get 5?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, we can fix that up later. Make a note for me, not on the page, and I can have a look at it.
So what happens for number 2 if you did the working but you're wrong? Do you still get a mark, or is that...
It depends if your working is legitimate. I can have a look at it afterwards. Because the idea of a 2-mark question is, if you do some kind of correct working, for instance, if you got the marks in order, that stands for something, right? Even if you identified the wrong one as the median. So I'll have to have a look at that. Okay. Yep. Okay, so let me come back. We were doing that. We use the table. 39 divided by 15 gives you that. Find the modal class. Modal class just means it's one of these, the one that's most frequent, right? So you have a look and you see which one has the highest frequency. 9 is the highest frequency. The class that corresponds to that is 7 to 9. Okay. Stem and leaf plots. What's the highest mark? So remember how to read these, right? They even give you a key. When you see a 4 and in between the stem and the leaf you got that line there and then a 7, right? That's going to be 47. So if you like, these are kind of like your tens units. Sorry, your tens digits, and these are your units digits. Okay. So the highest mark is going to be 50 something. It's 57. You just read it off the top. How many students did the exam? You have to count out how many leaves there are. Each leaf represents an individual student. So that's where you get 27 from. What's the median mark? Just like before, you've got to count to the middle. Luckily for you, these marks are in order, right? So you don't need to redraw this thing. You just need to count down. One of the easiest ways is to say you cancel one at the bottom, one at the top. One at the bottom, one at the top. And you keep going until you can't go any further. And you'll get 31, that mark there, as your median. Over the page. You're doing well. Last statistics question. We have to find range and we have to find mode. What is range? It's the highest, which is 5, minus the lowest. So that's where you get 5 minus 1 from. That's 4. What's the mode? Again, it's the most common score, the score which has the most people on it, and that looks to me like it's the 2. That's the highest. Okay, so that's where that mode comes from. And that's all of data.